Imagine holding a piece of history in your hand, a simple quarter from before 1965. But this isn't just any quarter, it's a treasure worth its weight in silver. Before 1965, US quarters were made of 90% silver. These coins were a staple in everyday transactions, carrying not just monetary value but also a significant amount of precious metal. Today, that same quarter holds significantly more value than just 25 cents. While modern quarters are made primarily of copper and nickel, pre-1965 quarters are sought after by collectors and investors alike. It contains about 0.18 ounces of silver, which at current market rates makes it worth several times its face value. This intrinsic value fluctuates with the silver market, often making these quarters worth several dollars each, far exceeding their original 25-cent denomination. Let's put this into perspective. Understanding the value of silver in historical coins can be quite enlightening. A handful of 10 pre-1965 quarters contains approximately 1.8 ounces of silver. These quarters, minted before 1965, are composed of 90% silver, making them highly valuable to collectors and investors alike. With silver currently priced at around $28 per ounce, that handful is worth about $50.40. This value fluctuates with the market, but it gives a good indication of the intrinsic worth of these coins. Compare that to the mere $2.50 face value, and you can see the significant difference. The face value is just a fraction of the actual market value, highlighting the importance of understanding how precious metals hold their value over time. While the purchasing power of the dollar has eroded over the decades due to inflation, the value of silver has remained relatively stable. This highlights a crucial point. As fiat currencies lose their value, tangible assets like silver retain theirs. In the 1960s, a handful of quarters could buy a decent amount of groceries. Back then, the value of money was quite different, and people could stretch their dollars much further. Today, that same handful might not even cover a loaf of bread. Inflation has eroded the purchasing power of our currency, making everyday items more expensive. However, if you had kept those quarters for their silver content, their value would have significantly increased, preserving your purchasing power and the ability to buy roughly the same amount of groceries almost 60 years later. Investing in precious metals like silver can be a hedge against inflation, ensuring that your money retains its value over time. This is the essence of why many investors turn to precious metals like silver. Unlike paper currency, which can be printed in limitless quantities, silver is finite. Its intrinsic value is not subject to the whims of governments and central banks. By converting some of your assets into silver, you're not just investing in a metal, you're investing in a tangible store of value. Pre-1964 quarters are a perfect example of how silver can protect your wealth from the invisible tax of inflation. Subscribe to Precious Metal Talk for more insights on how to protect your wealth and invest wisely in precious metals.